Good morning, folks. Taking a look at Apple today, starting on a very wide angle. We're going to telegraph in really quickly. If we take a look at this formation, we can see that what we are in the middle of is this very large candlestick. So, and that note right there is a gap. So what we're going to take a look at, this large candlestick here, we really are in the process of retracing it. Let me move this all the way here, down here. So we're into this much of the candlestick. Could it be that we've got a 38.2 retracement of this candlestick and we're moving back to the upside? Potentially, but more than not, the 50% level of that candlestick looks like it's about here, and that's a more likely retracement target since there is a gap sitting there. Let's move in a little bit more closely. Let's take a look at a weekly chart. The weekly chart shows a bit of congestion here, but again, nothing large. We are at the 50% range between the 100% and the 127.2. That normally does pull us back into the 100 area. If we breach this region of 526, 525 or so, we will begin to traverse back to the upside, 535, 543, before we have more trouble and some decisioning to do. That being said, this gap, again, not showing up here on the weekly charts because this is a big solid candle from a week, but we are looking here because as we come into the day, we can see that after all this time, and I was talking about that, about saying, hey, listen, we've got potential downside, could come all the way into this first initial gap, and a lot of times that lends for scoffers, which, that's pretty reasonable. If you're sitting up here, things start breaking down, where we started really focusing on the short side of Apple, things start breaking down at 675. If you go, hey, listen, there's something here at 440-ish, 480-ish, probably ought to pay attention to. Of course, you're going to scoff, right? That's only natural. Unfortunately, that's what it is that we're looking at right here, and we are awfully close to that gap, not to try to come in. Again, it's not a big one, just $3 or so, I think, but it is still sitting there. The more important gap is sitting right below here at 421. So let's take a look at today. What do we want to pay attention to today as we trade? Well, as always, we're going to make sure we pay attention to higher lows and lower highs. Looks like we have a little bit of double bottoming action here, but here's the thing. Here's a high, here's a low, here's a lower high, here's a lower low. We could come all the way up to here, and if we fail at this 522 area, it's going to telegraph more downside momentum. So watch the level. We're pretty far away from the monthly VWAP, and we have a tendency to try and touch it every few days, and we are really down here, so I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a popping action there. It's more than reasonable. However, we've got a lot of negative formations sitting around here right now. So where's baseline support? Looks like it's about 511, 510.27. That's my thought. Below 510.27, we're going to see more downside momentum easily. If we can breach and hold 517, it's probably 518. If we can breach and hold 518, we've got upside momentum. That leaves the region from 518.20 to 510.16. That's an $8 gap. How do you trade that? How do you trade that $8 range? Well, if you come in there and you start seeing candlesticks that are giving you higher lows and higher highs, guess what? You can trade from 510 to 518, right? Probably want to be very cautious about the 516 area, begin to take profit off and that sort of thing. But that's basically what we're looking at. If we get below 510.50, going to be looking at short. Above 518, we're going to be looking at long side action. A lot of congestion up above us, not a lot of congestion below us. So the easier trade is probably going to be the downside trade if we lose the levels. All right, first target at 505, second target at this baseline from several days ago at 501 and some change, and then 495. Ultimate target region, the opening of this gap somewhere around 480. All right, that looks like we're about to go. Okay, good luck trading today.